What's poppin' YouTube? In this video, we're gonna check out the key reasons, maybe like 5 or 6 reasons why the Joe Budden podcast failed at making Adam22 look bad. Okay, let's start with the first point. The first point is lazy podcasting. Just flat out lazy podcasting. Ish and Ice and Joe, they admitted that they never really watched the No Jumper podcast like that. You know, they never watched the whole interview with rappers that Adam interviewed. They never really saw the full clips. They just saw like short clips and judged off of thumbnails and clickbaity titles. So it's like, to me, that's lazy podcasting, because how can you get loud and start screaming about a topic and you haven't even researched it? You don't even know what that person's platform is all about. At least watch like a chunk of interviews or a chunk of videos and be like, okay, I get the gist of what he's doing on his platform. But look at a couple thumbnails and titles and then base a whole idea who you think this person is and what their intentions are. That's lazy podding to me. That's lazy podding. Okay, so let's go to the second point. So the second point is Joe Budden is notorious for treating his co-hosts like crap. I.e. Rory and Mal, even before Rory and Mal, just people. If the stories you would hear about Joe Budden and his interactions with people, it's always full with like some tragic story of how Joe Budden did this, he did this wrong, he treated this person bad. You know, some of it might have been exaggerated, some of it might even have been false, but it's still a narrative out there that Joe Budden is hard to work with. He's not the greatest guy when it comes to, you know, being a good co-host. So, you know, and mind you, Joe Budden preaches unity, ownership, kumbaya. But Ish and Ice literally saved the Joe Budden podcast and deserves like a percentage of the brand at very least. Like get them dudes 2% of the Joe Budden brand, but they'll never see any ownership. And they might be okay with that, but it still bleeds into the narrative of like Joe's moving kind of funny, you know. So my point is, that's not even a big deal. The big deal is you can't move like that and then be the morality police. Unless you're squeaky clean, then you could be the morality police. But it's just like, it's kind of laughable. Like Ice playing morality police is crazy too, because if you look at his old tweets back in the day, Ice used to be a savage on Twitter. So it's like, bro, you pull up some old Ice tweets, you be like, whoa, is this even the same Ice? Okay, another point is the outrage. To me, it's misdirected outrage. So they have more outrage for what Adam22 does on No Jumper than they do the rappers making music, engaging in illegal activities. This what makes their whole argument trash. This creates a horrible take on the topic of black trauma. You can't really talk about black trauma in a very loud and aggressive way if you're not going to have that energy for the people that's actually doing the illegal activities, that's actually unaliving people. Like, you can't, it just doesn't. How can you be outraged at the media but not outraged at what's going on in the community? See, once again, lazy podcasting. We don't care what's going on in the community. We don't really care we're just getting the bag. We don't care. We're just mad because Adam22's getting the bag off of reporting about illegal activity that rappers are doing. That's the whole thing. It's more like, it's almost like a jealousy thing. Like, we're jealous because you're winning, and the way you're winning, we don't like the way you're winning. But that's just hate right there, because it's like, everybody's not going to be okay with the way somebody's winning. Some people don't like how Joe gives it up. Some people don't like how Ice gives it up. So it's like, okay, stand in line. But the outrage is just misdirected, man. Because if anything, they should have outrage about what's actually going on in the streets. They already admitted, Adam, you're not from this. Adam, you're not in the streets. You never was in the streets. You was never in the streets. You're not from this. Okay, well, if you guys are from this, you should already know that the problem is what's going on in the streets. The problem is not some dude interviewing some rapper. That's not destroying the community. So that's just, once again, lazy potting. And then again, more lazy potting is Ish tried to get super hyped and emotional and loud at Adam22, saying you're instigating beef between rappers. Now, if you're a No Jumper fan, or if you watch any No Jumper interviews, that's the total opposite of what Adam22 does. Like, if you watch the No Jumper pod, Adam just sits back. He just literally lets them talk. He doesn't instigate. He doesn't egg them on. Like, that's not what he does. But again, Ish wouldn't know that because they're lazy potting over there. Once again, lazy potting. They're not doing no research. They're looking at a title, a thumbnail, and being like, you know what, I'm mad, I'm upset, this is BS. It's like they won't even take the time, the 20 minutes, the 30 minutes out of their day to even watch a video. But they'll bring the person on the pod, they'll bring the person on and scream at them. So it's like, yo, how can you do any deep dive analyst? That's like, you'll never see people do that in sports. Like, what do you think of the championship game? Oh, I didn't watch it, but I'm gonna tell you so and so's trash and this and this. Like, how can you talk about sports if you ain't watched the game? How can you talk about LeBron if you never seen LeBron play? It's like, how can you talk, like, you would never respect somebody trying to speak on sports, but they never watch the games. You like, their opinion doesn't matter. But so for some reason in podcasting, you cannot do any research on somebody and know nothing and just read a title, thumbnail, and just go crazy with all these hot take opinions. And it's like, that is the definition of lazy potting. So, like, tell me if I'm off base. Let me know in the comments if I'm off base, I'm tripping. But everything I'm hearing from all these clips that's surfacing on Joe Budden's YouTube channel and their Patreon and everything related to them and Adam22's interview, it seems like lazy potting. Like, we don't really know much about what you're doing, but you're making way too much money off these rappers that's riding on their ops, and we don't like it. So we're just going to get mad and we're just going to yell at you and gang up on you, all three of us, but we don't really know what you do over there in No Jumper. So it's like, at least and what's crazy is Adam went on his own podcast, No Jumper, and said after the interview they all like kind of followed each other, like Ish, Ice, Joe, they all follow Adam on like social media. And it's like, that just further proves my point. They don't even follow nothing No Jumper, so they don't know what's going on over there. They're just like, is he reporting about some rappers and they're doing illegal activities? Oh man, I don't like this, I'm about to cuss them out. And it's like, do some research, please do the bare minimum. It's just frustrating. It's like they do music and album reviews and they don't listen to the music or the album. They listen to like one or two songs and say, hey, I'm too busy, I didn't listen to the album, I heard some of it, I'll listen to it next week. So it's like, what's the point of even bringing it up on the pod? And then after that, they bring on people to scream at them, and they don't even know what they're doing on their platform. They're like, we don't know what you're up to over there, but we don't like it. We don't really know. We don't know we don't know what you're doing over there, but just stop it. You're getting too much money. So it's like, it's laughable, man. It is really laughable. This is 101. How going in, they thought they were like, oh, we got him. We got Adam22. And then it's like, if you look at all the comments, every clip they drop, it's like nobody's on their side. They're all siding with Adam. Like, bro, make sure you hold these rappers that's doing illegal activities accountable. They say nothing about this. They never mention it, and they still won't mention it. And another good point, Ish was like, yo, we brought on Maxo Cream and we did an interview with Maxo Cream and we didn't ask him nothing about gang stuff or nothing. But again, this is why Joe Budden podcast is not known for their interviews, because their interviews suck. Their interviews are super, like, almost scripted. It feels scripted. It might not be scripted, but it feels scripted. The interviews, the questions are safe. It's all industry questions. It's like, are we watching Entertainment Tonight? it's so corny. Like the questions, they don't try to say ask anything that makes the person uncomfortable. It's super tailored to that person. They don't want to ask any tough questions, any hard questions, and it just comes off corny and boring. It's really, I don't know anybody is like, I love their interviews. Their interviews are boring. People tune in for a Joe Budden podcast when they're podcasting, not when they're interviewing, because the interviews are super safe. It'll put you to sleep. It just will put you to sleep. Joe Budden's even a different Joe when he's interviewing. He's all like, he never screams, he never challenges anything. The interviews are always stale. So it's like bragging about how you didn't ask Maxo Cream this question, that I don't even remember that interview. It's forgettable. The Maxo Cream interview's forgettable because people want the raw stuff. People want real questions, real life interviews, real life questions. People don't want that industry stuff like, yeah, you're friends with that person behind the scenes. That makes for a bad interview. Like if you're just going like coddle people in an interview and not push or challenge them, what's the point? They just do industry interviews. It's like industry, like we're going to be safe as possible and we're not going to piss this person off. So it's like, to me, that's not nothing to brag about, because you're not giving fans what they want. You're giving people this watered down interview. Like, we didn't ask him anything. We didn't ask him about his ops. We didn't ask him this, or we didn't ask him. Okay. All right. So you did a boring interview and you played it safe and asked him a bunch of industry questions. Good job. So yeah, man, just let me know what you think, and I'm out.